Coach Tina. Thank you so much for joining me today for this EXOS Low Intensity workout. You don't need any equipment for today's workout, but if you do feel like bumping it up a little bit, you can keep some equipment nearby, and I will just tell you where to add it in. But I'm not going to be using any equipment today. If you're doing this as a replay video, please just leave a comment saying replay so that way I know that you did this workout. And let's get started with some pillar prep. I'm just going to start my timers on here. One timer, start this timer. So pillar prep is just to warm up our core, warm up our shoulder joints and our hip joints a little bit. So let's start on all fours and we'll start off with some scap push-ups. So you're going to be keeping your arms completely straight. All you're going to do is kind of sink down and let your shoulder blades come together and then push them away. Think about pushing yourself away from the floor. That will really spread out the shoulder blades across your back, okay? So let's just go back and forth doing this for about 30 seconds. So again, your arms are staying completely straight. You're just letting your body sink down so your shoulder blades come together, and then you're pushing yourself away from the floor so they spread apart. Just get our shoulder blades moving, some pressure going through our wrists and our shoulders. All right, now let's move on to our hips a little bit. So from a kneeling position, you can just have one leg out to the side, just like this. Then from here, just plant both hands on the ground, and you're just going to rock yourself forward and then back. So you're kind of going into like a little half child's pose here. We're really sitting back in that hip, and then you're rocking yourself forward. So right now we're stretching out our adductor, which is that muscle on the inside of our leg. Just getting our hips working a little bit. About 20 seconds here, and then we'll switch to the other side. All right. So now back to a kneeling position, and then the other leg goes out to the side. Hands get planted on the ground, and then again, just rock yourself forward and sit back in that hip, and then back up. This is a great exercise I like to do sometimes at the beginning and the end of a workout, just because it feels really good. It's a great recovery exercise, and it's also great, like I said, to warm up your core and your hip joints. All right, so from here, let's take it a little bit further and then go into the bird dog. So now our core is really going to be working. So back to our first position here. Now we're going to raise opposite arm and leg off of the mat at the same time. And as you're doing this, before you raise your arm or leg, think about pulling your belly button in toward your spine to really contract your core. You want to pretend like you have a glass of water on your back and you don't want it to spill, okay? So your back shouldn't, or your hip shouldn't be moving in any which way direction. If you feel like your hips or your back are moving, then you can just bump it down a little bit and just raise one arm up and then one leg up, okay? We're going for quality over quantity here, okay? So really focus on what you're doing. If you feel like you can't do it right, then just do your arms. That's totally fine too. Just alternating sides. So it's my left arm and my right leg, and then my right arm, right leg. All right. Now moving on to some movement prep. So now I'm going to prep you for the workout ahead. So let's start off with a squat. Starting with your hands facing forward, and then one arm is going to shoot up and the other one is going to reach for the ground, okay? I want your gaze to follow your top hand, okay? So pull yourself down into a squat, and then you're going to watch your top hand. With my bottom hand, I'm just sort of touching my fingertips to the floor, and that's about it. we're just opening up our T-spine and rotating our spine and our core just to warm that up a little bit. I'm not counting here, but we're just going for about 30 seconds of this movement. Remember, your eyes are following your top hand. Your top hand is going right towards the ceiling. All right. Now to warm up our hips and our glutes a little bit, let's go for a low lateral walk. So like I said before, if you do want to use equipment, just keep it nearby. If you have one of those mini bands, you can go ahead and put that up around your knees. Just take a little quarter squat, and then small steps out towards the side. So from a side view, I'm just in a little quarter squat position, just stepping back and forth. This is warming up, like I said before, our hips and our glutes. Get them all prepped for the workout. Again, if you have a mini band, you can put it above your knees. You can put it at your ankles for a little bit more resistance because it's at the longer end of our leg here. Again, just for about 30 seconds. So we'll take one more walk back this way. All right. Grab a little sip of water before I explain the workout. All right, so for this low intensity workout, it is not meant to be a crazy difficult workout. It's just meant to give you some movement in the middle of your day. Maybe you're doing this in the morning, just to kind of wake up your muscles, get your body moving. So we're going to do everything for 30 seconds. I chose 4 exercises, so we're going to run through those 30 seconds each, take a little break, and then repeat that at least 3 times, maybe 4 or 5 if you're doing it by yourself at home. So let's start off with a prisoner squat. So for a prisoner squat, interlace your fingers, place them behind your head, so your elbows are pointing out towards the side. Again, we're opening up our chest and our T-spine. Since we spend so much time hunched over at the computer, this is a great exercise for midday. So to find your squat stance, just do a couple marches in place, and then wherever your feet land, let's just go with that for today, okay? Think about pulling yourself down into a squat and back up. 30 seconds here. Go at your own pace. Now, even if you do have equipment with you, I want you to do this type of squat to begin with for the warm-up round, and then you can hold your equipment any way that you want to for the next round, okay? The hardest part about this, the weight is behind your head, so I don't want you to try to push yourself forward and just like fall over. Try to keep yourself upright for your squats. That's the tricky part with our hands being behind our head. All right, that was 30 seconds. Moving on to our next exercise here. Inverted hamstring. We've done this one a million times. Start off with planting one leg down. Soft bend in that knee. Your other leg is going to shoot straight back toward the wall behind you as your head goes toward the wall in front of you. Your heads go out to the side. 30 seconds on each leg. I'll show you the side view. Again, soft bend in that leg that is planted down. All right, let's switch sides. Now my right leg is planted. Soft bend in that knee. Arms go out to the side. And 30 seconds. Let's go. Think about kicking your heel straight back to the wall behind you. So keep your foot flexed if you can. So your toes are pulled toward your shin instead of pointing with your toe. First round here is always the hardest because we're just getting used to our balance here. But after you get the hang of it, It'll be easier for the next round. All right, that was 30 seconds. Moving on to a high plank. High plank is just regular push-up position. So let's get our hands underneath our shoulders. Go up onto your toes. Starting in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hold it for 30 seconds. So again, I'm pulling in my belly button towards my spine, squeezing my glutes, squeezing my quads, which is the muscle right on top of your leg. This is a full body exercise. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next, we're going to move on to some offset push-ups. So one hand is going to be just like we had it for regular push-up position. The other hand is going to be slightly higher. You're going to do a push-up and then switch your hands. Okay? So for 30 seconds, and go. Push up. Switch your hands. So one hand is always high, one hand is always a little bit lower. For your push-ups, make sure you're spreading out your fingers really wide and really gripping the floor with your hands. Keep going. We got 5 seconds. And rest. All right, that was our 4 exercises. Let's rest for about 30, 45 seconds here. All right. Like I said before, if you have equipment and you want to use it, I will explain where you can use that on the way. I'm going to be starting with some prisoner squats again. If you have a dumbbell, you can hold it with 2 hands in a low position. You can hold it in one hand, up on one shoulder. Switch sides, hold it up on the other shoulder. Just make sure that you do an even amount of rounds. That way it's equal on both sides. If you have a medicine ball, you can just hug it against your chest for that first exercise. So let's get started with some prisoner squats, starting in 5 seconds. Hands going behind my head. And go. 30 seconds. I took a little bit wider of a stance this time, and my toes are pointed slightly out, just a little bit. Five seconds. All right, moving on to an inverted hamstring. Again, if you have a dumbbell, you can just do a single leg RDL, holding the weight on the side that you're working. That's an option, or you can just do a regular RDL, just holding the weight on one side and then switching sides. Again, just make sure that you do an even number of rounds, starting in 5 seconds. All right, let's go. 30 seconds, inverted hamstring. Remember, your back leg kicks the wall behind you. I always think of a seesaw whenever I do this exercise, because our hip would be like the pivot point of that. All right, that was 30 seconds. Let's switch to the other side. Now my right leg is planted. Soft bend in that knee. 30 seconds. My heel is kicking the wall behind me. Remember to breathe through it. This is supposed to be, remember, a low intensity exercise. Just getting some blood flow to the muscles. About 30 seconds. Moving on to our high plank again. Let's get those hands set up right underneath our shoulders. Go up onto your toes. And hold it for 30 seconds. Remember, think about pushing yourself away from the floor. Turn your heels out a little bit to get your glutes working. Breathe through it. Really try not to hold your breath here. Keep breathing. We've got 5 seconds. And rest. All right, our offset push-ups. If you have a dumbbell, you can flip onto your back and just do a floor press. Again, you can just do one side at a time. That is just another way to get your chest working. But I'm sticking with push-ups today. Offset push-ups, starting in 5 seconds. And go. One hand high, one hand low, and then switch. Remember, go at your own pace. This workout is for you to adjust and change as needed. And if you make any adjustments, write them in the comments so I can know what you guys are doing. All right, that was 30 seconds. Take another break. That was our second round through. All right. Hope you guys are feeling good by now. Gotta turn my heater down a little bit. There we go. All right, that was our second round. We're going for at least 3. Maybe we'll squeeze in the 4th round. Starting with our prisoner squats again. So if everybody's ready, you took your sip of water. All right, prisoner squats, 30 seconds, and go. If you're one of those people who you just don't squat low enough, try sitting down to a chair. So sit all the way down to the chair and then stand up from there. Just so you know that you're hitting your depth. 5 seconds. All right. Inverted hamstring. Or RDL if you have equipment with you. All right, ready? 30 seconds. Here we go. Arms go straight out to the side. Thumbs facing up. I'm really gripping the floor with my foot just to help my balance. It also helps if you just pick a spot and stare at it. Give you a focal point. That was 30. So let's switch to the other side. All right, here we go. Remember, as your leg goes back, your head is going forward. That will kind of help with your balance. What's the word I'm thinking of? Counterbalance. So when your head goes forward, your leg goes back. 5 more seconds. My arms are getting a little tired here. All right, there we go. Definitely felt my shoulders working for that one. All right, moving on to our high plank again. All right, starting in 3 seconds. 2, 1, and go. 30 seconds of a high plank. Again, remember, keep that belly button pulled in and think about pushing yourself away from the floor, just like we did with the scap push-ups, how we're kind of pulling our shoulder blades out to the side and rounding our back a little bit. Really push yourself away from the floor here. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. Moving on to some offset push-ups. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Let's go. 30 seconds. One hand high, one hand low. Spread out your fingers. Think about pulling yourself down to the mat. Push yourself away. Keep it going. All right, that was 30 seconds. And that was our third round completed. How you guys feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go for one more round. So we'll get 4 in this video. Again, if you're doing this at home, feel free to do a 5th round if you want to. Starting with our prisoner squats again. Let my heart rate come down just a little bit more. Keep this low intensity. Doing it on time. All right, are we ready? Let's start in 10 seconds. Decide which exercise you're doing, weighted, unweighted. Prisoner squats, 30 seconds. All right, let's go. Last round here. Again, go at your own pace. Try to keep your reps consistent throughout the 30 seconds so you're not getting all of your really good reps in the beginning and then you're sort of trailing off at the end. Try to keep them consistent. This is our 4th round, so you should have found your pace by now. All right, that was 30. Inverted hamstring. All right, I'm starting with my left side. All right, 30 seconds. Remember, thumbs face up. Nice job, keep going. Oh, lost my balance a little bit. All right, that was 30. Let's switch sides and go. By the second exercise, I definitely feel my shoulders working for this one. Keeping them out towards the side is like an isometric contraction, so you're just hanging them out to the side. They're contracting the whole time. All of the blood is rushing to your shoulders. All right, that was 30 seconds. Whew. All right, moving on to a high plank. All right, are we ready? 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Remember, pull in your belly button, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your quads, the top of your thigh here. 10 seconds left. Really push yourself away from the floor. 3, 2, 1. All right. Shake it out a little bit. Moving on to our last exercise, the offset push-up. All right, are we ready? And go. Last exercise here. One hand high, one hand low. Keep pushing. We got 5 seconds left. There we go. All right, so that was our 4th round of those exercises. I'm going to take a little sip of water and then walk you through our regeneration. So regeneration is meant to be a cool down. Throw in some mobility stretches. All right. So we're going to be starting on the ground for this. We're going to do a half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So let's go ahead and get started with one knee down. One leg is going to be in the half kneeling position, just like this. So from here, I'm thinking about pushing my hips forward and squeezing my glute back here because that will tighten up everything back here and then give you a better stretch in the front, okay? Half kneeling position, push your hips forward, squeeze that back glute so that way this all gets stretched out in the front, okay? The same knee that's down is the same arm that's going to go up and over. We're just going to take maybe 3 deep breaths here. Just go at your own pace. Every time you exhale, try to reach a little bit further with your top hand. Just to enhance the stretch a little bit. Now I chose this exercise because it's great to do the opposite of squats. So when we're doing squats, we're sort of bending at our hip joint, and now we are extending that and opening it back up. So let's switch to the other side. Again, we're opening up this hip by squeezing our glute and pushing our hips forward. The same knee that's down is the same arm that goes up and over. Just go for 3 breaths at your own pace. Now this arm over top stretches out a muscle in our back called the QL, which sort of runs all the way along our back, which got used during our inverted hamstring stretch and our high plank. So we're just giving that a nice little stretch. All right, let's move on. This next one is called a shin box. So let's get one leg with our shin parallel to the mat or parallel right in front of you. So my knee is bent to a 90 degree. And then my other leg behind me, same idea, 90 degree. I'm more focused on the front leg though. So just make sure that front leg is parallel to your mat in front of you or just to you in front. Now my left knee is in the front. I'm going to put my left hand down. My right hand is going to swoop through that opening there. And I'm just trying to reach further and further through that hole with each exhale. So this stretch, we're really just trying to get our lower body in a certain position while our upper body rotates. So that's all we're doing is just sort of twisting here, rotating. This leg on the bottom, you should feel a stretch in your glute and hamstring right here. So the more you lean forward and lean into it, the more you will feel that stretch. This one definitely feels awkward if you're not used to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's a really great setup to stretch your shoulders, your T-spine. You just got to give it a chance. Maybe try it once a week with your workouts. All right, so now the same setup, just opposite. So this front leg is parallel with my mat or just right in front of me. My back leg is at a 90 degree as well. So now my right knee is in front, my right hand is going down, and my left arm is going to swoop through that opening. I hope you know what I'm talking about. So the opening is between my hand and my knee. There's just a big space right here. I'm just swooping right through that. Again, just trying to rotate my upper spine as I'm stretching out my legs. You'd be surprised how much further you'll be able to reach through the more that you practice this. All right, I'm feeling good. I hope you guys are feeling amazing after that workout. We kept it very low intensity, just a little movement break in the middle of the day. As always, I'm Coach Tina. Thank you so much for joining me, and don't forget to leave a comment if you did this video as a replay. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.